Hey everybody, this is Perch. I got a bunch of mails, like a lot of them, all at once, asking me what I thought of this Mark Brooks EVS debate that went on. And our debate, live stream, like they got together and everything else. I didn't listen to it. I will get around to it at some point, so it's not like I'm saying I'm too good to listen to this thing. No, it's not that. In the list of like priorities for the day, that's somewhere below getting gas for the car, and somewhere above, I don't know, washing the car. There you go. That's where it sits. Somewhere below gas, above washing. And if a couple more days go by, then the washing the car is gonna bump up over listening to this. It depends on where we get to it. I don't know. I don't really care. So a lot of people are like, have you listened to this? What do you think? What do you think? And here's why I don't care. And it's going to be for maybe a different reason than you think. And this may be one of those like torch the entire building behind me, piss everybody the fuck off in this conversation. But it's something that I think people need to realize. And it's this: everything is phony. What does that mean? It means that look, in comics, like you've been watching for months, and there's been videos, and there's been blog, and there's been all this entry about like, look at what Mark Brooks is doing, and blah, and the stuff that went on at the Comic-Con with what's his name, like somebody came by my booth and they were threatening me, and I called the police, all that kind of stuff. All of that is phony. You gotta know that by this point. This is all a phony. I mean, here's the crazy part. And it's nonsense, but the nonsense is this: if right now, Richard Meyer, old your boy Zach, if he said, "Hey, I've come into a bunch of money. I've got $1 billion here, and I'm going to make comics. And if you want to sign up with me and my what is his labels? It's a cat that's dead." It's the dead cat label. I'm sorry, I'm not throwing shade. I can't fucking remember what the name of it is. The dead cat label. If you sign up with me right now, then I will, you will get a guaranteed whatever 150,000 a year plus what you make. That's what you're signing up with me to get. Is that? Do you realize the amount of people who would jump at that? Joe Glass, he'd be like, fuck it, I'll take that money. He would absolutely, if Zach said, any of you can, like, I whatever feud we've had in the past, Heather Ontos, I've done like roughly 5 billion videos on you. But still, you want to come up and get this money? I'm paying 150,000. You could be an editor for my line. Ontos would be right now going like, hey, your boy Zach, tomorrow. And you could say, no, you're wrong. They have principles. Nope, they do not. It's not about principles. It's about, this is all phony. This is the problem I have with comics. And it's going to be kind of, hard to portray this, but take this from somebody who's been in comics for, 30 odd years. The comics industry, people in comics, protects their own. And what I mean by that is, if you're in comics, if you magically make it into the big two and you're there, then no matter what kind of prick you are, you're still going to be on better footing than a lot of the fans. And that honestly is the fucking problem. Because there's been plenty of people in comics who come and go in terms of kind of, popularity and whether this person's a good person, bad person, whatever it happens to be. But when you've been invited into the club of comics, then they're always going to keep you in the club. Even if you're out, even like, I've listened to Chuck Dixon, he talks about how he's out, everything else. All the same, people who get in comics, even if they get on the blacklist or ostracized list, they're still more likely to be treated better than your average fan. Because that's the way the business works. It's not nice. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's bullshit by and large, but it is absolutely the way it works. And so this is why I never take a lot of these feuds seriously. And I understand a lot of you come into the comments, a lot of people, A lot of creators. Well, like, bullshit, that Perch doesn't know. Yeah, fuck it. Perch does know. Absolutely, he does know. The reality is, all of these people, no matter what ideology, what candidate they voted for, any of that other shit, if EVS or Zach or any of these other people started handing out money, people would take that money. If you think I'm wrong about that, you're out of your mind. They absolutely would take that money. And conversely, by the way, if suddenly, Sana Amanat is like, you know what the most important thing is for Marvel right now? It's hiring Zach. That is the most important thing Marvel could do. I need to hire Zach. He's, for whatever reason, we did a little a slot machine, and we were trying to figure out the right diverse thing to whatever. I don't know anything about Zach's background, but whatever. That it came up Zach. We need to have Zach hired. If that moment came to pass, she would hire Zach in a second. And quite frankly, I haven't talked to him about it, but if suddenly, somebody put in front of him, like, hey, I'm going to give you a guaranteed $150K, I think he takes it. I think he does. I mean, am I wrong? Maybe. I may be wrong. But that's not a knock against him. It's just, this is the way the business works. This is why it's all a big joke when I see these tweets, which is, I mean, even the name tweet is an indicator of how fucking stupid all this is. It's a tweet. You're not supposed to take that seriously. Come on. You're talking about Twitter like it's a legitimate, important part of business. It's a joke. And that's what all of this is, a joke. If everybody can be high and mighty about, the right people and the wrong people and all the rest of that stuff. If suddenly people thought there was money to be made, fuck all this. They're gonna go for it. They are. And I please, by all means, come in and regale me with your legendary tales of the SJW agenda and all that kind of crap. By all means, hit me. But the reality is, consistently, over and over, the one thing you can count on in comics, and I take it from somebody who's been in this for 3+ decades in comics, who knows plenty of people in comics, who have done all kinds of shit in their lives. The reality is, money talks. And there is a bias in comics. And by the way, there's lots of you who are going to disagree. Every single person who has done indie comics knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. If you make it into the kind of the circle of being a quote-unquote comics creator, you're in a different zone. And even if you fuck it up, even if you go and do crazy things, you're still on better footing than a indie creator who hasn't made it in that circle. And I've talked to a ton of indie creators who get treated like absolute garbage by members of the comic industry who align with them politically. Everything else is fine, but the fact that they don't have the gravitas or the nudge to get into that special little zone, they get treated like crap. It is absolutely 100% true. That's what goes on. I don't know. I think that that's what bugs me, is because I've met many people in my life who are extremely talented people who have real talent, real skill, good stories to tell, etc., 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 and they are frequently ignored, disregarded in favor of people who have been part of the party in the past. And look, if you've worked in the tech industry, pharmaceutical, anywhere else, you know this game. There is an advantage once you make it in the door. And even if you burn a lot of your bridges, you're still at a better advantage than people who are ultra talented but don't have that rub. Look, the funniest thing, hands down, that could occur in comics is for some like an EVS whoever to offer Heather Antos a $150,000 contract. She's absolutely taken that gig. Absolutely. All of what's happened in the last 5 years, all of the various statements, if you guarantee that money, now you have to guarantee it. You can't be like, hey, take this cash and you can't make it a phony kind of nonsensical thing that is clearly a trap. You got to basically say you're getting 3 years of this salary. If you do that, she's in, and then all of those tweets, all that kind of stuff goes away. I mean, that's where you delete your Twitter account, you take the money, and you do whatever you're sold. Absolutely, that's happening. Absolutely. I'm sorry. Likewise, I'm again, people will deny it. A lot of these people who are saying I hate DC, I hate Marvel, etc. You throw a guaranteed contract in front of their face with locked in money. Yeah, they're going to take that deal because and it's so. Whether you believe it or not, I don't know. Maybe there's some people who stand on principle. I'm sure there are a few. But keep in mind, whenever somebody throws out I'm making millions of dollars outside of Marvel and DC, making or raising, just for lack of a better word, I know people get pissed about this, but fuck it. There's a big difference between I raised this money and I made this money. Because raise this money is the total amount. Made this money is after expenses. And there's plenty of examples of people who have raised a lot of money, but then the expenses make it a lot less. Again, anyone who tells you otherwise is full of shit. But that's what I think. But regardless, a lot of people making money outside of comics, fine, they are making good money, and good for them. They are broadening the overall comics world. I think it is healthy for people to go outside, do indie projects, raise this kind of money. It's healthy. It's healthy for comics to give more options for people to make comics. That's a good thing. But make no mistake about it. This is a largely nepotism-driven industry with a lot of if you're in the club, you get to remain. There's a lot of that bullshit that goes on, and the people I feel for, it's people. Look, Brian Ball, the guy who does rags. I feel for Brian. Brian's a good ass guy, makes a good comic. You may or may not like his comic. That's fine. But this is a hustler. He gets his shit done. He finds ways to get comics. He works his ass off. He's a good guy. Okay? You think Brian's going to get invited to the Marvel party? No, he is not. A lot of people who burn their bridges at Marvel, meaning they've actually gone on record talking about how much Marvel sucks, they're invited to that party. Why is that? Why is it that Brian, who's a rock star of a comic creator, and that's not an exaggeration, guy gets his shit done, he does business. Whether or not you like zombie comics with girls who can't find pants is a entirely different story. But the guy works, and I live in a world where I would like to, respect, honor, and reward people who hustle and get work done. I respect Brian immensely. Brian's never going to hear this. I don't know. Or maybe Brian is mumbles. Have we thought about that? I don't know. Anyway, I respect Brian a massive amount. If there was a way that I could, help Brian, I would. He's a good guy. I don't give a fuck if at some point, I said this once before, he's like, I'm not supporting Brian because he once said that, Cyberfrog was a bad guy. Jesus fucking Christ, how petty can you be? I don't even know if that's true. I respect people who hustle. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit who you vote for. I respect people who try and get work done. And if that's you, you're a hustler, cool. I hope you succeed. I am very old school in this regard. Work hard, you should get reward. In comics, it does not work that way. Work hard does not always translate to reward. In fact, I would say it often does not translate to reward. There are amazing people in comics who work their ass off, try their best, always on, try and make things happen. Classic example. Old Jim Zub. I've talked about him on this channel. Fuck, that guy works his ass off. I mean, good for him. That guy he is class all day long. Lots of people I've talked to are class. Those are the people who should get the rewards, not people who just happen to, be part of the club and always invited to the party. That's, I guess, my point. You're probably left wondering, what was he talking about in this video? People ask, again, I got lots of email. I'm just collecting about 12 different questions. What do I think about Mark Brooks debating EBS on YouTube? I mean, I think that hopefully everybody looks at that and goes, yeah, all the noise that Brooks has made on Twitter, pretty phony, right? You either look, if you really think this stuff is the worst of all time, which is what Brooks has said, you wouldn't go on that show. Not even for a debate. No, you would not. So this is all a giant. This is the scam that it is. You got to look at it that way. No, I'm not saying he shouldn't go on a debate. I'm saying if you're going to take such a hard stance and then show up in order to try and shill some attention, I don't buy your stand. Sorry. And I think that is indicative of a lot of comics. It's a lot of big talk, no stand. That's my fucking opinion. What's yours? Thanks for listening.